mentally getting their passports ready and that kind of stuff. So, okay. All right. So let's review from last week and see how it went. How was everybody's week? Remember, fear, failure, and fear of success. So what kind of things, what kind of conclusions did you come to on what kind of things might be fear of failures or fear of successes for you? And what kind of things did you put down that you realized you learned from previous experiences when you might have had a failure? Brandon, let's start with you.
I just kind of went over some of my goals that I've set, and a lot of them that I am more hesitant about going through with is mostly fear of failure in certain areas.
Were you able to kind of like take yourself and think about now versus a while from now, if you worked on them and failed them, like what really would be the worst thing that would happen? Could you kind of logically walk yourself through it? How did that help you?
It just kind of put things in perspective and made it more worth it to look into doing some of those things, because the worst thing that could happen isn't that big of a deal.
Right. Because if you don't try it at all, it's for sure a failure, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get anywhere closer to if you don't work on it. So do you mind giving us one example of something that you might try doing now with a little less reservation that you would have had worry before?
Yeah. Maybe just like starting that entrepreneurial business that I was talking about.
Cool. Can you remind me what the business was going to be?
I haven't really planned. I was just looking into it.
Just something.
Yeah.
You know what? One fun thing to do is get a piece of paper and just do a brainstorming session, like kind of like the $1,000 idea one.
Yeah.
But put down as many ideas as you can of different things that you might do to make money versus just meet a friend that's rich.
Yeah.
But ways, work that you would do. And you'll be surprised what will like pop out of your mind. You might have put down even the really bizarre ideas, because that one still might lead to something that is logical.
Yeah.
And you might do that with whichever parent. You might have a parent that you're more close to or seems to know you better or whatever. You could do it with somebody. You can do it on your own. You could do it with a brother or friend that you're really close with. But the other thing you could do is write down like maybe your top 3 talents and figure out based on those talents what some ideas might be based on those. That's kind of another way to do it.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can't wait. So email me or let me know next week how that went.
Okay.
Okay, because that'll be really fun to hear how that goes. Okay. I gotta make myself a note because I will forget to ask you. Okay, I'm gonna unmute Sean here. His computer is right in the middle of the room, so I think. Sean, I'm such technologically broke. Oh, there we go. Oh. Okay, get halfway.
All my family is making a ton of noise, so.
No, it's okay. I had you muted, but you're muted now. So tell me of going over some of your fears of failure and fears of successes or previous ones you've had. Tell me how that worked for you, thinking those through.
Sorry, people are talking to me and I'm getting distracted. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, no problem. I totally understand. When you did this assignment this week, thinking about either a failure you've had in the past or thinking about things that you might be kind of putting off doing because of fear of failure, what were some of the thought processes that you went through to either learn from previous failures or how you might approach some of the things that you wanted to do with less fear?
There's not much I'm afraid I'm going to fail that I'm putting off.
Okay.
Nothing actually comes to mind. The only things that I tend to put off doing is just stuff that I deem less important or stuff that I'm just not interested in doing at the time.
Okay.
There's not usually a logical, well, this isn't worth doing because I'm not going to do well, type of mindset, because typically I know that I can pull it off if I want to do it. So that typically isn't an issue for me.
Okay. Everybody's different. So we'll go over some of these different things in the book and we'll apply more to you and more to others. So all more power to you. One of the things that you do, we'll get into more of that later. So I'm glad you brought that up, though, that sometimes things you put off just because you don't see the value in them. So we'll talk just a little bit more about that. Do either of you, I do this because I'm totally guilty of this. Sometimes there's something I don't really care for doing. Okay, so here's like the worst, best example, exercise, okay? I don't necessarily want to exercise. I know how much better I feel when I do it, so I don't like it, but I like the benefits of it. So one of the things we'll talk about today are goals, things you want to do in the next 4 to 6 months. So possibly, Sean, I don't know if this is true or not, but for me, I have some of these things happen. There may be something I'm putting off that actually is going to keep me from getting to that goal that I really want to. Even though it's an action I don't like, I'm going to be sad if I don't accomplish that goal. So sometimes really focusing on our goals will give us that nudge to do those things or find a way to do it really fast and get it over with that aren't always that we consider fun. Okay?
All right.
All right. All right. Were either of you able to watch any of the Time movies?
Yeah.
Did you say yeah, Brandon?
Yep. I watched
Which
The
one?
Rookie.
Watch The Rookie. Have you seen it before? I can't remember.
I think so, but I didn't remember it.
So what did you learn from that? Did he seem to have some major fear of failure?
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing I kind of learned is that you're never too old to do what you want to do with your life.
Yeah. It was a pretty amazing story, huh?
Yeah.
I really like that movie a lot. In fact, my husband and I have talked about producing what do you call that? A reality show where the old guys come and see if you can get them in shape and like actually qualify for whatever sport, football, baseball, whatever it is, and try to see if they're maybe call it the second chance or the rookie or something funny like that, and someone that either they were injured or they got sidetracked and got married or got a different job or see if they could fulfill their dream. Don't you think that would be kind of a fun reality show?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, we don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't even know why. But anyway, we just thought that would be kind of fun. So, Sean, were you able to watch any of the... Whoops. Come on. Technology isn't my friend today. I'm trying to unmute you. There we go. Sean, did you watch any of those movies?
I did not get the chance to.
No problem. These are just things that kind of reinforce some of the things that we talked about. Okay? All right. So this week we're doing something a little bit different. Up to this point, we've mostly talked about things that have to do with your long-term goals and your bucket list, and we've kept your goals pretty light and not too serious or like that. Actually, quit and focus more on your immediate goals and things that you want to do. So there's two different types of goals that we want to talk about. And the first one is anything that you want to accomplish in the next 4 to 6 months. Okay? So that might be grades in school. It might be something you want to do over the summer. You can even go 12 months out if you want, but it needs to be relatively, you know, the near future. It could be saving money for something. It could be going on an adventure with friends. It could be being really proficient in a skill you want to. Like my boys want to create an app this summer. Okay, it can be all sorts of different things. So creating your goals, and you want to do about 3 of those. And then the other 2 goals that I want you to set are anything could have something to do with a goal that's long term. It might be 3 years out, 5 years out, even 10 years out. And that if you don't work on it now, it won't happen. Okay, so example, my son who, you know, Porter wants to do these big triathlons and even an Ironman one day. If he doesn't work on that now, like if he wasn't to work out and he was to get really unhealthy and those kind of things, it's less likely to happen. Or someone who's an Olympic athlete, or someone who wants to be a lawyer or a doctor, if they're not studying now, it's not going to happen 10 years from now. Okay, so let's see if you understand those. So 3 goals based on things you want to have happen anywhere from the next 4 to 12 months. And then 2 goals that you need to set short-term goals to work on things because it won't happen in the long run if you're not working on it today. Okay? Does any questions on those, Brandon?
No.
Okay. How about you, Sean? Is that something that... the mute button is driving me crazy. I don't know why it's so difficult. I'm sorry, Sean. Give me a second here. Why can't I get the mute button to turn off? Sean, can you unmute yourself? My controls are not cooperating. There we go. Thank you.
What was the question?
Can you think of some goals, or how do you feel about these types of goals, having the things you want to do in the next 4 to 12 months, and other things you need to work on now that you accomplish in the long run?
Your audio keeps cutting in and out. I only heard half of that. I think your microphone is having trouble tracking you.
Okay. Sean, look to the top of your page.
Jacob, how many times have I told you not to do that?
Microphone, camera. If you click on that and limit that, sometimes you can hear me.
I don't think it's working.
That's what happened when he put stuff on my stage.
Have you heard of personal space?
I'm just having all the technical difficulties today. Plus, I'm surrounded by noise.
Okay.
Have you heard of
Mother, could you limit the noise?
Can you hear me any better now?
A little bit. But that was actually after I tried increasing the quality.
Okay. Whatever works. Okay. John, do you understand the 2 different types of that are going to be things that you work on now? Either goals or goals where if you don't work on them today, they won't happen in the long
run. I'm thinking.
You don't have to give me examples. I just want to make sure you understand what I mean.
Okay.
Questions on that?
Everything's having issues. I can't relate.
Okay, no problem.
Take that in the other room.
Okay, so let's go on to the next thing. So if you haven't already read it in the book, in chapter 28, we're going to go over this. It's called You Get What You Focus On. And this is a fun one to learn and understand. One of the fun things about this is in this concept, it's kind of like, you know, when your sister's bugging you or your brother, and your mom says, if you just ignore them, they'll quit bugging you. Has anybody ever had a mom say that before? Okay, just ignore them. And the reason why that happens is, and the reason why it's a really true principle, when you're usually we're telling someone not to do something, right? Don't touch me, don't bug me, don't make noise, don't pull my hair, don't climb on me. You know, we're usually telling people don't do something. The thing is, both adults and kids, when we tell them don't do something, our subconscious doesn't hear the words not, don't, won't, can't, those kind of things. So here's kind of a fun little test. If I tell you, whatever you do, Sean and Brandon, whatever you do not allow a pink elephant to pop into your brain. Don't see the pink elephant. You can see any other animal you could, but pink elephant. Don't let that pink elephant be visual in your brain. Think about anything else but a pink elephant. Is that very easy to do, Brandon?
Not really.
No, it's pretty hard, right? Okay. So,
I don't know about you guys, but I want to watch Inception now. That's what's in my head.
So yeah, so it's this funny little principle that when somebody tells us don't do something, it makes us automatically want to do it. Okay? And it's just because your brain doesn't hear the no, not, don't, won't. Okay? So there's two different principles to this. One, telling other people what you want. So if there's something that's not going well and you want to tell them don't do that anymore, actually tell them what you do want them to do. So when my children get caught lying in my house, instead of saying I will never lie, I make them write 25 times. I will always tell my mother the truth. Okay? So it's this funny little play on words, but it actually works. Now, one of the things that sometimes happens is, so an example, and you two may not have any issue with this at all, it's just an example. If for some reason someone was worried they weren't going to get into college or graduate from high school or have their dream career, there's this thing that happens in our brain when we're worried about what we don't want to have. It doesn't work real well. Okay, if we're worried we're going to fail, this kind of connects to the failure thing, which I know, Sean, this isn't a huge issue for you, but sometimes we're so worried about the bad thing that's going to happen that we can sort of attract that more than the thing that we want. So when you set these goals, one of the things I want you to do is be really clear on what you want to happen and make sure you're not talking about anything you don't want to happen and start really visualizing it happen. So Brandon, one of the things you want to really think about is that I really want an entrepreneurial opportunity. And you want to focus on that. What you could be thinking, which I don't know if you are or not, but somebody who wants to make money, the other thing that sometimes people can think about is, oh, if I don't have any money, I'm not going to get to do this, and I'm not going to do that, and I'm so worried I don't have money. Can you see the difference? Okay? So instead, you want to be really focused on what idea can I come up with? What are the different things that I can do? What are my skills? What are my talents? What ideas are there out there for me? Okay? And this is a really, really fun little tip to do, is to focus on the things that you want and also tell other people what you actually want versus don't want to have happen. Okay? Now, based on your thing with the entrepreneur thing, Brandon, some of the things that also helps you with this are the things that keep you up at night, brainstorming and excited. Not keep you up at night because you're worried, but keep you up at night because you're brainstorming and excited about something. Okay. And then things that maybe you daydream about. Like Sean, I know we've talked and you have some amazing ideas about having consistent income and jobs you can do and things you can help other people with. And keep daydreaming about those and put down what you really want to have happen and start putting down some specific goals based on steps. And this is where your tracker comes in. So as you get more specific about these goals you want over the next 4 to 6 months and in the long run, things you have to work on, you can add those little short-term habits and activities that you need to do to make sure these kind of things happen. Okay, so let's just say, Brandon, you'd come up with an idea of some sort of class you wanted to teach. You were going to help 10-year-olds do something, and you knew one of the things you had to do is get the word out. So maybe one of your activities would be handing out flyers, posting stuff on Facebook, contacting so many people a day to get the word out. See how those things match? Okay.
Yeah.
And Sean, when you do come up with an app, getting the word out, getting reviews, those kind of things, you might want to say, okay, this is how many I want to do a day to get the word out. It's where we match the dreams with the actual actions that need to happen to make those things a reality. Okay? Luckily, I kind of joke, I'd love somebody said this. They said, luckily, not every one of our worries, not every one of our concerns, just because we think about it doesn't come along. If you've ever flown or been in a car or in bad weather, you worry, we're going to crash or something's going to happen, or even talking to somebody. What if they don't like me? What if they don't accept me? We can have all these worries. Luckily, most of the bad stuff doesn't happen that we think about. So we're kind of blessed. God's a little merciful in that area. But at the same time, the more you think about the good things, the more likely they are to happen. Okay? So can you think of an example, Brandon, where changing your thinking or changing what you're saying to yourself or to someone else, making sure you're focusing on what you really want to have happen, has an idea popped into your head of where you could use this mental activity?
I can't really think of a specific example, but I understand why the principle would work.
Okay. All right, Sean, how about you? Is there any example that's popped into your head where you could use this to your advantage?
Well, there's always the placebo effect, where your mind can create the scenario needed for you to complete whatever it is that you think is going to happen.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. Cool. So yeah, and there's nothing wrong with placebos. If they work, they work. But yeah, that's a good one. That's good. Is there anything specific in your life that you might either change how you're saying something to someone, or change what you're saying to yourself about a scenario? No? Okay, no problem. All right. So this week I haven't assigned any movies because I've assigned several over the last couple weeks, and just have fun watching another one of those if that's an activity that helps reinforce some of these concepts. I just love fun, positive, motivational movies. It's a lot of fun. One though, have you ever heard of the movie Invictus? Kind of a weird name. It's about do you know who Nelson Mandela is in South Africa and apartheid and those kind of things? Have you studied that part of history?
A little bit.
I don't think so.
Have you, Brandon?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit? Okay. Do either of you know what rugby is or ever played rugby?
I play rugby, yeah.
You played rugby. Have you played rugby, Sean?
Not really, but I know what the concept is.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun sport. Anyway, this movie Invictus, Nelson Mandela used their country's rugby team as a way to bring the white and the black population together, because they were very separated. And Nelson Mandela was their first black president, and this was a very big deal, and this was a very tumultuous time. I mean, it wasn't good. okay? And they were trying to figure out how to come together, and it's a neat movie. So I'll email that to you, the name of that movie, because that would be a fun one to focus on and realize how he focused on what he wanted to have happen. He focused on bringing the country together. Instead of like just putting out fires and trying to get people to get along in certain situations, he had this big vision of how he's going to bring people together and kept that goal right in front of him, which is kind of a fun one to think about here, because he could be more focused on how people weren't getting along, but he chose to focus on how he was going to help people unite. So it's a pretty neat one. I really like that movie. On Netflix, there's a really cool documentary on how the movie was made, and Clint Eastwood, if you know who he is, your parents would know, but he's old. He helped produce this movie, and it's a neat story. It's really cool. We liked it a lot. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so keep reading your goals every day. Are either of you using the tracker?
Yeah.
I'm set.
What did you just say, Sean? Brandon is. I'm not sure where Sean went. So Sean or Brandon, I'm sorry. How is the tracker working for you? What kind of goals are you working on that?
A big one right now is just getting all my schoolwork done on time. And
Is it helping?
a little bit, yeah.
Good. Good. Excellent. Okay. So keep using your tracker. Keep reviewing your goals. This week, set those goals, okay? You need to have 5 by next week. Email them to me by, today's Tuesday, right? By Monday night. Email me at least a couple of your goals, if not all of them. And then I'll talk to you a little bit about little ways to write the goals in a real positive way where you can read them. And then focus on the things you want to have happen. Practice telling people what you want versus what you don't want, including yourself, okay? So your assignment is choose 2 things you think about and what words you say to yourself or others. Write down ways you could keep all your verbiage, both in your heart and to others, positive. Basically, not positive, happy positive. I mean that they know what you want versus what you don't want, okay, in the affirmative. And feel free to ask questions if necessary, like give me an email. There's this thing happening with my sister, or there's something I need to tell my mom, or school teacher, or whatever, and I'm not quite sure how to say it in a positive way. So feel free to email me if you're getting kind of stuck on any of these ideas. But you'll see a lot of advantages to it. It's pretty fun to see what happens with this. Okay?
All right.
All right. Any questions for me? Are you guys seeing any success? Has anything happened on your bucket list so far?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Watch and see what happens. Sometimes little miracles happen. How about you, Sean? Anything on your bucket list?
Been focused on more more central goals to what I'm trying to do. The bucket list is just kind of bonus stuff, in my opinion. But
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. It's just sometimes some of them happen without even any effort. Now and then that happens. Would you like to tell us about some of the goals you are working on right now, Sean?
just basically building together everything I need to suddenly I'm at a loss for words.
It's okay. What kind of future things?
Yeah, putting together stuff, school-based things that I need in order to be more prepared for the future goals.
How is that feeling? Is that feeling any more positive or hopeful?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes? Okay. And this will grow. Okay, you're just getting into this, but you'll see how it will help you over the long run, and it will feel different in the long run most of the time. All right?
All right.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions? Any way I can help you?
No.
Okay, keep reviewing your goals. The sooner you write these down, the more help it will be in your life. So get those 5 goals written down as soon as you can. Send them off to me. And then be reading them every day and see what happens. You'll get some really neat inspiration and some ideas that'll pop into your head. And it's fun because you'll see when God's inspiring you. And you'll be like, wow, I don't think that just came out of my own brain. So it's kind of fun to see what happens, okay? Have some fun with it.
Okay.
All right.
All right, awesome. Okay, you gentlemen have an awesome week, and thank you so much.
You too.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.